We are diving deep today into a source that I have to say it really forced us to stop and just reflect on the immense technological power that we're all wielding now.
Hmm.
It comes from Kevin Bernstein's final volume of his Change Chronicle for 2025, and it was inspired by a surprisingly quiet foundational place.
Sort of a hospital lobby.
Exactly.
That's right. So Bernstein was at an AI summit at Indiana University Health. This was just in early December. But he found his attention completely captured by the words embedded in the stone right under his feet,
The Hippocratic Oath.
the Hippocratic Oath. And he had this realization in that moment that AI has grown in influence, in consequence, to be just as powerful as medicine.
And it's capable of both, right?
Yeah.
Profound healing and widespread harm.
But where's our promise? That's the question he keeps coming back to.
Yeah, that's the core of it. I mean, medicine has, what, 2,500 years of ethical commitment sort of built into its practice?
Right.
But we are wielding this massive machine intelligence without any kind of shared sacred promise about how we're going to use it.
And what's so fascinating here is the immediate historical context he brings in. You know, when humanity develops powerful tools, it doesn't matter if it's the ability to do surgery or generate complex code.
Mm-hmm.
Those tools have to be paired with a covenant, a guiding ethical framework. It can't just be a list of rules about, technical competence.
So our goal for this deep dive is really to extract the most actionable ideas from his framework. We're going to unpack his response, which he calls the AI user's oath.
And really look at why he argues our existing policies are just totally insufficient.
Totally. And most importantly, we're pulling out the 5 specific promises he proposes we should all internalize and carry forward with us into 2026. This isn't just theory. This is about becoming a responsible pilot of the tools you use, probably every single day.
It's a necessary check-in. I mean,
Yeah.
as the year wraps up, this final volume is asking all of us to look ahead and decide what ethical foundation we actually want the next generation of AI to be built on.
Okay, so let's start with that initial powerful anecdote, because the setting seems just absolutely critical to his whole breakthrough.
It is.
He wasn't looking at some, dusty framed document on a wall. He describes the words as being embedded right there in the floor.
They were unavoidable. He had to physically walk over the words, "First, do no harm." It makes them foundational, grounding,
Literally foundational.
literally. They weren't aspirational words on a poster. They were beneath them. It forces you to consider the weight of those words as you just, go about your day.
And reading those words, for him, it instantly transported him back to his clinical days. He describes it as the ethical standard wasn't just a philosophy, it was a constant weight.
A burden, a pressure. He said he carried it with every single interaction. It was the necessary filter for every single decision he made. He argues that that promise, that ethical covenant, is what made the terrifying power he held.
The power to intervene in a human life.
Exactly. It's what made it safe for him to wield. That promise, it instilled the fear that made him slow down, double-check, and always seek counsel.
And this brings us to the critical distinction he makes, and this is really the heart of the whole piece, I think.
I agree.
The difference between policy and covenant. When we talk about AI governance today, it's almost always about compliance.
Exactly. The Hippocratic Oath isn't about enforcement. It's not a rule book designed to punish you. It's a covenant.
An internalized thing.
It's an internalized sacred commitment that's woven into the self-identity of the practitioner. It works because it forces you to commit to truth, to stewardship, and to seeing the human being behind the data.
But hold on a minute. I mean, we do have policies today, right? We have GDPR, we have acceptable use policies, terms of service,
Of course.
all those internal company compliance checks. Why do those fail to create that sacred connection that Bernstein is arguing we need?
Because policies are external mechanisms. They're about compliance. They define the boundaries of what you're allowed to do before you get penalized.
They track the outcome.
They track the outcome.
Mm.
A covenant, though, defines who you are. It compels you to reflect on the moral obligation before you act. A policy is a liability checklist. A covenant is an ethical bedrock.
And we're using liability checklists for a technology that's reshaping truth on a global scale.
It seems dangerously weak when you put it like that.
It does. He describes that moment in the lobby as a virtual lightning bolt, hitting him with the thought, we need this for AI.
We're using tools that are distributed to billions of people, tools that can write and generate and influence at a massive scale.
And yet we have no shared internalized promise guiding it all.
That is the sacred promise that's missing. When we look at the power sitting in the apps on our screens, what is our moral foundation? Are we really just counting on individuals to, be responsible?
Which, as he notes, is dangerously vague. It's so easily bypassed when the pressure for efficiency is high.
And that reliance on vagueness, that brings us right to the urgency of the timing. As we close 2025 and we step into 2026, Bernstein argues we are crossing a vital threshold right now.
What's the threshold?
We are absolutely moving from AI as a novelty, something we play with, something new to AI as infrastructure.
From experimentation to expectation.
Precisely. Organizations, individuals, we're all moving from let's try this tool to we can't function efficiently without this tool.
And that transition is inherently dangerous if you don't have an ethical anchor. What happens when a powerful, complex tool just becomes routine?
We stop questioning it. We assume competence is automatic just because access is easy.
Right.
When tools are simple to use, we forget that the ethical mastery required to use them responsibly is actually quite hard. The central danger, in his view, isn't the AI itself.
It's the normalization.
It's the normalization without the covenant. It's power without internalized reflection.
That's ethically slippery. You can see this in everyday life. He uses the example of how many people now rely on what he calls Dr. Google MD for medical advice.
Confusing convenient machine output with legitimate, vetted expertise.
We're constantly blurring those lines of trust and competence, which is exactly why an oath is necessary now. People trust the output because it's fast.
Not because they've assessed the underlying responsibility.
Right.
And who is making you stop before you hit generate and ask, should I be generating this?
Whoa, buddy.
What are the downstream consequences of this output? The covenant creates that essential moment of pause, of reflection, of accountability.
So if policy isn't enough, how does Bernstein advise we actually implement this covenant in our daily lives?
Well, after carrying this idea home with him, he distilled his thoughts into 5 specific commitments.
He wanted the oath to be short enough to remember, specific enough to guide real decisions, and deep enough to create that moment of ethical hesitation before you hit the button.
And these 5 points, they really attempt to embed that internalized responsibility directly into the workflow of everyone who touches AI, whether you're a user, a decision maker, or even a model builder.
Okay, let's dedicate some serious time to these then. Starting with the one that's an immediate echo of the Hippocratic Oath. Number 1, first, I will do no harm.
And specific to AI, this means explicitly not using tools to generate hate or harassment, deception, or to exploit the vulnerable.
The analysis here isn't just about avoiding illegal acts, it's about avoiding malice.
Exactly. It's remembering that behind every data point lies a human experience. The tech allows for this automated personalization of harm. Think about mass, highly targeted personalized harassment campaigns.
Or deepfakes designed to ruin reputations.
Absolutely. The oath demands that the user pause and recognize the human cost before they click send.
Okay, moving to number 2. I will prioritize truth over speed. In an age of large language models, this feels incredibly necessary.
It's critical. We know AI can hallucinate and mislead, and it often does so with this veneer of extreme confidence.
Which makes it so believable.
It does. So this point immediately elevates the role of the human user. It explicitly says that you, the user, must be the final guardian of the accuracy.
You cannot outsource truth to the algorithm.
You can't.
Yeah.
This is a commitment to verification, to guarding against that immediate acceptance of convenient output as absolute undistated fact.
So, practically speaking, what does that verification commitment look like when you're on a crushing deadline? I mean, that's the real test.
It means building skepticism into your workflow. It just has to be part of the process. If an AI gives you a statistic, you don't use it until you've traced it back to a reputable primary source.
You have to do the work.
You have to do the work. If it writes a complex email, you proofread it not just for typos, but for factual or ethical errors. It means actively checking things, not just taking the result at face value because it saved you 5 minutes.
All right, commitment 3. I will respect the roots of creativity. This one honors the human labor and intellect that trained the models.
And acknowledges the vast amounts of material, copyrighted and not, that was consumed by the system.
This feels like a demand for transparency. It's so critical in the content wars we see today.
It is. The user must not claim machine generation as their own solitary creation. If an AI played a significant role in generating an image or a document or a piece of music, the user has to be transparent about that role.
It's about intellectual honesty.
It is acknowledging the collaborative, sourced nature of the output rather than misrepresenting it as a purely original effort from you.
The fourth point is I will practice stewardship. Here, the user recognizes that they are a custodian of this technology's impact, not just a consumer of its convenience.
And stewardship has two really powerful goals here. First is augmentation, using AI to enhance human potential, not to displace human dignity.
And the second?
Vigilance, remaining extremely sensitive to algorithmic bias to make sure your use of the tool fosters equity rather than deepening existing social or economic divisions.
Let's try to ground that stewardship concept, because augmenting human potential can sound a little broad. What's a practical stewardship decision a user might make today?
Okay, think about efficiency tools in the workplace. Let's say you implement an AI system that summarizes all the team meeting notes and synthesizes reports.
Sounds great. Saves time.
It does, but you must ensure that its existence doesn't quietly devalue the human labor of the team members who used to do that work. The moment the tool is used to justify quietly pushing people out or treating human work as disposable,
You failed the stewardship test.
you fail the test. The oath requires you to actively preserve human dignity alongside algorithmic efficiency.
And finally, the fifth commitment, which feels like the capstone for all of this, is I remain the pilot, never the passenger.
This one forces the user to accept full responsibility for the consequences of the content they generate. It fully internalizes accountability.
I love the way he puts it.
E2.
Yeah.
The algorithm is the tool. My conscience is the compass. We are constantly being pushed toward a passenger mindset.
Of course. AI is designed to automate, to reduce friction, to take over the mundane tasks.
But the moment you become a passenger, you forfeit ethical decision-making.
But wait, isn't the whole point of these tools to automate and reduce human effort? How do we reconcile accepting full responsibility with the idea that AI is designed to make me more of a passenger?
That's the intellectual friction the oath is meant to create. That's the point. The automation is for the task. The responsibility is for the outcome.
Ah, okay.
If your AI-written email causes offense, you are responsible. If your AI-generated image violates copyright or spreads misinformation, you are responsible. Being the pilot means you set the destination, you monitor the systems, and you are ready to take the controls back when necessary. It's a conscious gatekeeper role.
So as Bernstein closes out this final 2025 volume of his Change Chronicle, he really emphasizes he's writing from a place of hope, not fear.
Absolutely. Humans have built covenants around every powerful, transformative technology we've ever invented, from law to engineering to medicine.
This isn't a new problem.
It's not a new problem at all. It is an ancient challenge dressed up in the shiny new clothing of technology. We have figured out how to make powerful, dangerous tools serve humanity rather than subvert it. The hope is that we can do it again with machine intelligence.
But it requires a conscious, collective decision.
It does.
And this leads to the ultimate so what for you, the listener. Bernstein highlights this really critical paradox. The more automated our systems become, the more we need human judgment, human wisdom, and human responsibility.
AI isn't replacing our humanity, it's demanding more of it. The more the algorithm handles what can be done, the sheer volume of tasks and calculations, the more we as humans are needed to decide what should be done.
And that's the core invitation he's extending for 2026.
It's an invitation to pause, to question, and to verify, shifting our focus from just technical capability to ethical consequence.
And he stresses that the promise needs to be collective. You know, promises made together are always stronger than promises made alone.
The oath only works if we build a culture where responsibility is chosen and internalized. It has to become, just like he saw those ancient words in the hospital lobby, the foundation beneath our feet, guiding our choices, not just an abstract idea on a screen.
It's clear that as we move into 2026, the growing power of AI demands that we all become deliberate pilots, guided by a shared covenant rather than just relying on the legal fine print.
And Kevin Bernstein ends his final 2025 volume with a direct and powerful challenge to you, the individual user. He asks, what's missing from this oath? What promise would you make that I haven't called out?
If the capability of these tools is only expanding, and the covenant is still ours to create, what specific promise about your relationship with AI will you carry into 2026? Something to ponder as you open your next chat window.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.